Hi, this is Little Dwarf playing games while rambling incoherently into a microphone. Why? Well, just because I can, and I continue with Vampire the Masquerade, Shadows of New York, Blind. Now, I'm here talking with Hope, because she's one of the 4 people I have on my list that I need to question regarding the death of Boss Callahan. So, apparently, she has become a CEO of the... what is it called again? The Twin Spirals or whatever? The company that Julia, the protagonist, has been investigating in the intro, and that actually got her fired from her freelance job at the newspaper. So apparently there's some pretty shady business going on with the company, and in fact I've discovered a whole basement full of what basically amounts to ghoul slaves that work for the company. So, having met Hope, let's continue with actually questioning her. So, what's up? She says. On the one hand, clothes you could reasonably expect to find in any CEO's wardrobe. On the other, a body covered in tattoos, flashy jewelry, dyed hair, and wild makeup. The thought that she might be just yet another CEO playing the nonconformist crosses my mind, but she strikes me as someone who's more than happy to live in her own little bubble. Still, I won't be fooled. She is the boss of the Double Spiral. So, how did you find me? Sheriff Kadir Al-Asmai did. You'd have to ask him. I take out a new cigarette without thinking. You can't smoke in here, lady. Just let her. Don't treat me like I'm your enemy. I come in peace. A deep, relaxing drag. So, when did you realize I was here? Right at the start, there was a momentary laser malfunction. Lasted a second or two. Hasn't tripped an alarm. But I guess something was off. That's it? Hunches have gotten me every job I have ever had. Hunches saved my life anytime I got into a messy situation. These days, the reality is too complicated to rely on anything else. Can't find a better head of security than our Nastia. Her hunches are the main reason why. They are like a sixth sense. Don't I know you from somewhere? Do I know her? I guess, I could. I don't know if Julia ever investigate. Well, I guess her show was done internally. It wasn't really on the internet, but then again, she did have a lot of actual contacts on the internet. She had like multiple accounts pretending to be different people. So, haven't I seen you somewhere? Don't know. A club maybe? So that was about her. Wait. Maybe I did see her at a club. When I was feeding from the girl who was willing to be fed on. Oh, I guess it's not that, because it's last year, soon after I was embraced. I visited that one club in the refurbished warehouse, and you were there. You've got a memorable aura. Yeah, I DJ and help out there from time to time. Gotta show my face if I want to make it big. And why don't you focus on that? Following that career path doesn't seem exactly compatible with being the head of security for a Double Spiral, and not just because the necessary skill sets are so different. And Nastia looks at Hope. Working at Double Spiral provides me with a lot of benefit. Provides a lot of benefit to someone who relies on the internet for promotion, lady. And the slowed aging is just a nice perk. Of course, because she's a ghoul, right? So she's fed vampire blood, which makes her age more slowly than regular humans. Lovely chat, girls, but I would love you if you'd saved it for later. I am CEO now. I have a lot of duties I must pretend to handle. I just needed to ask you a few questions. Sure, yeah. And call me if you need me. I've got a weird hunch about this one too. Don't worry, I'll disappear as quietly as I arrived. Yeah, I would prefer you to be sure you left, lady, so that I can report it to my boss. Well, we'll talk security later. Don't worry, this shit happens. For now, take 5. Nastia leaves and I am left alone with Hope in the corner of the office. It feels funny to stand here in front of you. Oh, and why is that? You people had me fired from my job before I was embraced. Ah, I see. You're that Sovinsky girl from Lodestar. Yeah. Somehow I never put 2 and 2 together. So, you're the Lasombra rep for the city now, huh? As she's talking to me, she keeps tapping at her phone with terrifying speed. I don't feel like I have her full focus, and it's getting on my nerves. Just so you know, I have no idea why you have taken Kara Montgomery's place, and I doubt you would tell me, but that bitch deserves to burn in hell. Hell yeah, she does. Wait, did you just admit? Hold your horses. No, Jesus. This is why normal CEOs pay PR people to talk for them. I only agreed that she's a horrible person in every way that counts, and nothing more. Well, I'm pretty sure she did kill her. Like, what else could have happened to her? What with her no longer being around, and in coteries of New York, at the point where I stopped Hope's questline, Kara Montgomery actually tried to kill Hope, so I would assume Hope eventually turned the tables on her and killed her in return, and took her place as the CEO. Does she know that's what you think of her? Why did she leave you? Why did she let you take her position in the first place? What? I will just cut through the bullshit, okay, Miss Lodestar? I guess it's about Jesse and Kara covering his creepy ass. You've spent months on this case and you would like some closure. Pretty much. Well, here's your closure. Double Spiral has severed practically all ties with them. They don't work here, they've got no company money, they probably won't ever show up here again. The company is not their circus anymore, and the workers are not their monkeys. I am in charge now, so if there's anything you would like from me, I'm all ears. It wasn't just about Jesse and his sister. The company has ingrained structures of abuse and immoral. I've ordered internal investigations and audits. Everyone related to those illicit activities was disciplined. Legal actions, fringes, firings, rebukes and all, depending on the severity of their misdemeanors. Yeah, and here we are talking in the middle of what is basically a slave camp. Like, all of those people, I believe, are probably not paid, other than in Vitae, and obviously they are ghouls. So it's like they are purposefully kept addicted to basically what is an illicit, what is an analogous to a drug, and they are kept working in a basement. So sure, I'm reassured, sure. I don't have a stomach for all the creepy corporate shit, so I am trying to steer the ship in the right direction. Don't know what else I can tell you. Well, somehow I don't really trust you, but oh well. Yeah, I am kind of with Julia on that. Like, I'm a little bit dumbfounded by the exact context of this conversation. For fuck's sake. No matter how I look at it, it seems she has done everything I hoped to achieve. Has she? Like, to be honest, what I'm witnessing still sounds pretty damn immoral to me. So I'm not sure if the situation... Like, I assumed I'm not sure if I was supposed to take what she said at face value, but I assumed it was just corporate talk. Like, to be honest, I don't find this situation that those people, the ghouls, are in to be reasonable or to be something I could be okay with or I should be okay with. The Montgomery clan is over. The queen bitch, a symbol of everything that is wrong with tech CEOs, is gone. Jesse, that perverted, embezzling son of a bitch, is gone. I should be glad, so... Why is there a sinking pit in my stomach? You should make amends. Does she mean to the people that were wronged by the company, or? To be honest, there's been a couple of times in this game, and I guess in the previous one as well, where I wasn't entirely, like, I chose the dialogue option and then the entire context of it, what my character said, was a little bit different, and it was no longer the thing I wanted to say, but sure, let's try saying that. You should make amends. Someone must take responsibility. Listen, I get why you're mad, but this is a corporation. Diffusing responsibility is what it does. Everyone who worked here was guilty. So are all of the Double Spiral's clients, shareholders, etc. I hated Montgomery too. I took the company from her hands as an outsider, and now I am the only person on power trip here. All the fuckheads who disgusted me are gone. You want to hold me accountable? Sure, but hold me accountable for my own actions. Hell, these would be more than enough to put me away for life. The biggest case in my professional life, solved by some weirdo who fucked Kara and Jesse over in presumably underhanded ways. It doesn't get more anticlimactic than this. Fucking hell. I want to ask her how she did it, but why would she tell me? All I can guess is she's an outcast who decided to get her hands dirty and obtain power to do something she considered good. And something I've always been afraid to do. Anyway, I feel for you, but I have a lot of work to do, so if this wasn't just a trip down memory lane and you have any other questions, speak now or forever hold your peace, okay? I feel like a car just ran me over, but I need to keep my shit together. Right, a few days ago the Anarch Baron was found dead in his office. Are you familiar with the case? Douglas Callahan, of course I'm familiar. Every kindred out online is talking about it. And what are they saying? They are accusing everyone. I mean, it's the internet. Are they accusing you? Why would they do that? I found a peculiar note in Callahan's remains. It had your name on it. Huh? What can you say about this? Nothing. I've never met the guy. I have never seen him. He wasn't my crowd. Then why would he have a note with your name in his pocket? Why were Walt Disney's last words Kurt Russell? No clue. I watch her closely, but nothing suggests she's hiding anything. Well, the note actually contained 3 other names and nothing else. Agathon, D'Angelo, and Tamika. Ringing any bells now? Her finger, which hasn't stopped moving across the phone touchscreen since I first saw her, freezes. Yeah, it kinda does actually. It's a list of promising unaffiliated kindred that was making rounds in New York City a few months ago, in case anyone needed a hero for hire. I didn't know Callahan had it. I know Sophie Langley did, as well as a few Primogen. Not sure about the Anarchs. Who could have prepared this list? One of the local information brokers. A short but telling pause. Anonymous. How anonymous? Sort of anonymous? She's obviously conflicted about whether she should tell me, or maybe she's pretending so that I worm it out of her. I've been a good sport ever since I walked through the door. Maybe appealing to her sense of morality will work. I really need your help. I want to prevent the tensions between the local anarchs and the court from escalating, and every lead helps. She briefly considers her options and then gives up. It's my sire, Carter van der Weyden. Oh. He's brokering information? Everyone knows becoming the Prince of New York is his ultimate goal, and that he wants to make friends in all of the high places. Sharing useful intel is a pretty effective way to achieve that. So you're telling me that he, a Malkavian primogen, sold this list to an Anarch baron? Sure looks like it. Why would he suggest his own child to somebody? Well, to be honest, that seems like a stupid question. Like, the sire-child dynamic is entirely power-based. Like, it's the sires mostly treat their childer as pawns and as tools. So he would do it if it earned him something, I assume. To have a person on the inside, just another way to further his information web. Wouldn't they realize that you two were close? The story going around us is, he left me alone and I hate his guts. Well, at least half of it is true. Which half? She's talkative. Perhaps she sees me as a way to undermine Carter. Let's see how much further I can push her. I was wondering how someone like you could control a company like Double Spiral. I suppose a friend in high places would explain it. Yeah, lucky me. Not happy about ruining her? Not happy about ruining Kara Montgomery? I know I would be on a cloud 9 if I did that. Oh, I was beyond happy. It's just that it's something different now. She stares at dozens of displays at the wall in front of her. Do you remember the Y2K era internet? Jesus, I barely remember the internet at all. My people can't really use it. But yeah, I guess I sort of remember. Forums, GeoCities, browser wars, all those handmade amateurish web pages. It was a golden age. Everyone was welcomed to freely express their creativity and obsessions in this abstract new frontier. No formulated rules. Every site was a distinct new universe to explore. You know, as a kid, for some reason, I kept saving every web page that moved or changed me in some way. I don't even know why I did it, but today, a folder with this one is one of my greatest treasures. Fast forward to today. I am the boss of a company that has one overarching goal: steer the online narrative in every possible way that benefits the Camarilla. And because the online world is so fucked right now, I can do it using only 5 websites or so. Every day I deploy thousands of believable sock puppets to force some belief on the masses. Right now, they are being managed by these ghouls. Soon they will be partially managed by AI. Basically, an all-American version of the Chinese 50-cent party, a new pattern of public opinion guidance. Ever since I was a teen, I pretended to be different people online for fun. Aping the posting patterns of others was something I turned out to be horrifyingly good at. I became even better at it after the Embrace, something about the voice of Malkav in my head. After several years I became a one-person internet empire. I could impersonate anyone. I dream of tulips. A humble florist from Chattanooga who strives to share positive energy with their audience using photos of beautiful bouquets, motivational quotes, and the occasional The Office gif. Vulva Hufflepuff, a single mom from Brighton who reckons all these trans women must be bonkers and spends seemingly every waking moment of her life having a row with anyone who disagrees. Is this a jab at J.K. Rowling? Because obviously Hufflepuff is one of the houses in Hogwarts in Harry Potter, and obviously Rowling herself has become somewhat notorious recently in some circles for spewing what some describe as TERF rhetoric. Like, she has criticized some elements of the like transgender adjacent movements or something. Like, I'm not entirely like I'm not deep into that, because those are not topics that are like familiar to me or that sort of move me personally, because I'm not transgender, and I'm straight, and basically I'm pretty what's the word, bland. I'm pretty bland as far as identity politics sort of groups go. Well, I guess I am disabled, kind of, but I wonder if that's a reference to J.K. Rowling and her sort of her little feud with the transgender people or something. Polygon classist, a 19-year-old kid from Utah who keeps posting 2YK 3D renders of poorly proportioned, scantily clad ladies and telling his audience to remember what they took from you. What? What does it mean? I have little idea. Somehow, this talent got me here, where it's no longer fun but work. Work I usually entrust to those ghouls, because all of my duties. I want out before my entire fucking mind gets monetized. But Carter won't have that, so I will keep doing my best for both him and Double Spiral's investors. So that's why she wants me to look at him. I assume most of your operations focus on New York City. A lot of them, yeah. How do you imitate a New Yorker voice with these sock puppet accounts? Living in Manhattan and being mentally unstable makes this shit easy. To a normal, well-adjusted person from outside the city, everyone here seems mentally unstable. Ever watched the 9/11 Howard Stern show? No. Check it out someday, it's educational. Ask anyone in New York City about it, and they're like, it was a great bonding moment. He was helping us to make sense of everything. He kept saying what we were all thinking. Well, to be honest, I don't know what she's referring to, so I can't really comment on that. Then you listen to it, and it's everyone yelling that we need to nuke something, maybe the entire world, get rid of all of the Muslims, fuck human rights, no investigations, just take their oil. Cheery. Oh, so is it like an InfoWars kind of show? Because I do occasionally listen to InfoWars, not because I find it convincing, but because I find Alex Jones to be utterly hilarious, and especially his rants. Like, he seems unhinged to me, and as I said, I find him hilarious. Like, just the way he talks, the way he screams and like beats his chest or whatever. Like, he seems like he's insane, which he very well might be, to be honest, seeing from the kind of things he's saying. You watch it, you study it, you witness that specific brand of humor in the face of tragedy, and you understand that nothing outside of New York City really exists for the people who live here, or the vampires. A foundational text, really. Whenever I need to get in the New York City mindset for work, I let it play in the background. Works like a charm. Seriously, give it a shot sometime. Someday I might. For now, I think I will confront Van de Veyen with what you have told me. Or is it what you haven't told me? What's the story? Me? Of course I haven't told you anything. You're such a good investigator, you figured it out by yourself. And if he asks, just tell him Kaiser sold you the info. That should do the trick. I see. Thank you. What for? I did nothing. Let Nastia show you out. And if you don't know Van der Weyen's address, just ask her. Okay, again, those transitions are sometimes weird. I always feel like I have missed something, but I guess I didn't. It was just a transition shot of her traveling on the metro. Thank you for having me, Mr. Van der Weyen. No need, no need. I'll be happy to assist your investigation in whatever way I can, Miss Sabinski. He has a very creepy smile, and I'm pretty sure that's intentional, right? That sickeningly sweet smile, and this office, spacious but oppressive. Here is a man who knows how to subtly unnerve people, but does he even realize it? And I'm sure the presence of the esteemed Addison Payne will guarantee I'm totally transparent. Am I right, Addison? Well, looks like I've interrupted a friendly meeting. In the far corner of the room, I spot glasses of blood and two spittoons. Vices and follies of the rich. Are you sure I'm not wasting your time? Not at all. Busy as I might be, I can't say I'm not curious about the findings in the case. Yes, my thoughts exactly. How are you handling your newfound responsibilities? I'm managing. I will start by asking the obvious. Where were you the night Douglas Callihan met his untimely demise? Van der Weyen raises an eyebrow and then lets a restrained chuckle. Hear that, Addison? I might be suspected of foul play. Exciting, isn't it? Carter, no antics, please. Just answer the question. Of course. Well, I was right here, just like I told Prince Bernard. As much as I love to celebrate my power, someone has to celebrate the amount of work piling up on their desk. So, your alibi is you were here. Alibi. Ha! Yes, I suppose. Can anyone back up your story? Well, I did make a few business-related phone calls while I was working, so there is that. That doesn't really answer my question, does it? He regards me with a stare reserved for a troublesome child. Miss Savinsky, this right here is my private little fortress, a space specifically designed to make me focus. I don't really let people in to break that focus. Aside from an occasional esteemed guests, such as yourselves, of course, and a few wonderful Mexican women responsible for the cleaning duties. So you don't have an alibi. The look in his eyes screams, why won't you at least pretend to try and get on board with my program, kid? I suppose, but why would that matter? Because I found something that belongs to you on the victim's person. Well, to be honest, I very much dislike the way the main character is approaching this, because she's grasping at straws. Whenever she discovers some very small piece of evidence, she jumps to conclusions and she goes to face whoever she thinks might be responsible. But I feel like it's irresponsible to do that on her part, because I don't know shit, to be honest, and if any of them are responsible, Thomas Arturo or Van der Weyen, I have sort of showed them my hand, and I feel it's unwise. I feel like I should have piled on the evidence and confronted them once I have a very solid case. But oh well, the game didn't really give me a choice. Pardon me? Took the words right out of my mouth. We're not talking a murder weapon or something of that caliber, of course. No, it was a short list of 4 names, unaffiliated kindred, whose services could be useful to anyone interested in toppling the current power balance in New York City. Tamika, Hope, D'Angelo, and Agathon. Excuse me, Miss Sabinsky, but I am afraid I don't follow. How is that something that belongs to me? I have it on good authority that it's a shortlist that you've been shopping around to anyone interested here in New York City, be it Camarilla or the Anarchs. Addison tenses up, and his host is not happy about it. This is just preposterous. I'm calling your bluff right here, miss. No, the bluff is coming right now. Mr. van der Weyen, if you want to voice concerns about the information I have, how about you voice them to Kaiser, not me? Addison turns to van der Weyen, clutching his lips and gripping his wheelchair armrests tightly. For a brief moment, the ever-present smile of van der Weyen's face goes missing, and the expression that replaces it reminds me of a horrifying void. Like a sneak peek into what's really going in his soul. He quickly collects himself, but the image is burned into my retinas. To think these sorts of unsavory rumors are circulating around me, I should be grateful you let me know. So you're denying it? Of course I'm denying it, categorically. You can bet your life savings on it. I certainly hope this is nothing more than an unfortunate blunder. At two, Brute? Come on, Addison, we've known each other for years. Yes, and what about it? I will, sweet Jesus, Addison, I will get back to you in a second. Any more questions, Miss Savinsky? Any of the names on the list sound familiar to you? No, I mean yes. This is my longest strange child on your list, but that's just another reason why I'm flabbergasted anyone would consider it mine. I see. Well, I hope you understand why I am considering you a prime suspect now. To be honest, again, I find this dumb because it's very sudden, it's jumping at conclusions, it's gripping at straws, and I feel like regardless of if he's guilty or not, it's a wrong approach, because if he is not guilty, then, you know, this kind of approach might lead to confirmation bias on my part, where I will try to make him look guilty eventually, because I invested so much time and effort into accusing him in the first place. And if he is guilty, then I feel like it has been a mistake for the protagonist to accuse him outright, you know, at the very start. I should have kept finding more evidence to corroborate my accusation. But oh well, again, the game didn't really give me a choice. And I suppose it's you know, it's meant to convey something about my character specifically, that she's kind of rash and that she's kind of impulsive. Yes, and I swear to clear my name as soon as possible. Scout's honor. Any more questions? I'm good for now. Sheriff Alasmai will probably contact you later. I will get in touch with him myself ASAP. Once again, thank you for your work. He extends his hand towards me, practically forcing me to shake it. Then he puts his hand on my shoulder and leads me to the door. All too eager to see me off? Out of the sheer curiosity, Mr. van der Weyen, I have one more question. It might be a bit random. I really didn't need to ask, but I wanted him to die inside for a moment. Of course, my dear? His slightly strained tone suggests that I might have succeeded. You seem like a person who couldn't live outside New York City. By any chance, have you listened to Howard Stern's talk show after the World Trade Center fell? A tad unsure, but once again carefully controlled chuckle escapes his mouth. Geez, that is random, but well... New York, born and raised, just as you said. Of course I did. And your opinion? Same as everyone else's? It was the spiritual guidance we needed that day, coming from the unlikeliest of places. A visceral response that verbalized everything we felt. A beautiful moment of unity. Not that I am into lowbrow jokes about Pamela Anderson and the typical shock value the show tended to offer, but as far as I am concerned, Howard did an indispensable thing that day. Why are you asking? No particular reason. I just thought it might give me some insight into what kind of person you are. Well, that's the kind of person I am. Just your average New Yorker. So it seems. Well, then I'll leave you and Mr. Payne to your plans of conquering the city. Conquering the... No, that's spicy. Addison, I love this girl. She's gonna go far, I'm telling you. She's got that spunk, that glint in her eye. Goodbye, Miss Savinsky. I wish you a pleasant respite and a swift success in your investigation. Good night. I make it a point to bow to Addison's servant, but not the man himself. Doubt he even noticed, but at least these invisible displays of rebellion make me feel a little better about myself. Alright, the faster I leave, the better. Julia? Father? How are you holding up? I'm fine, stumbling around and hoping for a miracle to happen, as always. No better place to ask for a miracle than behind these gates, you know. So I hear. As I pass him to report about Aisling and Agathon, I look around, but Benoit is nowhere to be seen. To be honest, I find him annoying, kind of. Like, I find him a lot more annoying than I did in the other game, and even in Coteries he eventually became sort of unhinged, and he literally kind of almost tried to kill me with the power of true faith, so just ignore his absence. I decide to stay silent and simply bask in the happiness of something good finally happening in my unlife. But of course, it doesn't last for long. I sent Benoit away because I want to talk to you about him. I knew it. Placate him how exactly? Wait, I probably have missed a line or two? I sent Benoit away because I want to talk to you about him. I knew it. Placate him how exactly? Benoit won't accept anything less than me joining a convent. I feel like I've missed a couple of lines. Because this seems to be a response to the priest talking about placating Benoit, but he hasn't told me anything to that effect. So it almost seems like a bug of some sorts. He's like a worried parent, a basic gesture here and there, showing up in church from time to time and pretending to listen would get him off your case. I mean, I've been through this song and dance before, with my own worried parents when I was a teenager, wandering in the forest until mass was over, not even being able to smoke because they would pick up the scent. Not the best moments of my life, you know, and part of the reason I'm distancing myself from them. I don't need this fake energy in my life, and I'm honestly weirded out by you asking me to lie. I'm not asking you to lie, Julia. Let me ask you this way. Are you a spiritual person? I guess I am. Kind of. Always was. Suddenly being able to see ghosts didn't change a thing. I think it's mostly because seeing the world as purely material seemed boring to me somehow. You are, and you were raised Catholic, so can't you find a way to express that spirituality in our church? I don't see a way right now. And why is that? I sigh. Too many people who would think my soul needs to be saved because I live with a woman, for starters. I don't know, there's a lot of reasons. Like the sin of drinking blood every other night, or feeling some primal fear whenever I walk by a clergyman whose faith seems to actually be genuine. That one sounds like an excuse. It's about your relationship with God, not other people. In theory, but back in the old country, I heard my share of homilies that felt like complete condemnations of my kind, and none that would condemn hate toward people like me. Yeah, unfortunately, this is kind of true. Like, the state of the church and state separation in Poland is kind of fucked up, because theoretically, it should be in full effect. Theoretically, it is, theoretically it is written in our constitution that the state should be, how to translate it. It should be like, what's the word? Ideologically neutral. It shouldn't favor any kind of worldview. But to be honest, in practice, the Catholic Church still holds a powerful sway over the general workings of the Polish country. And there are a lot of those pretty vile sermons, even on the highest levels of the church officials, when where they condemn gay people for being sinful or whatever, and for being for living in sin or whatever. The general spiel of how it's wrong to engage in homosexual practices, and how it's somehow damaging to the soul of the nation or whatever. Like, it's a whole lot of bullshit. But I do kind of get her, what with her being gay and Polish. It's probably a little bit harder than it is in the West. And when church-adjacent people try to stir shit around your very existence every few months, some minimal support would be appreciated. Sorry, all you can count on is silent complicity. I get it. I know there is a lot of work to be done, and a lot of undeserved hurt going around, but... Listen, I don't even want to talk about it. I fucking hate the tone I use when I talk about it. I sound preacher than those preachers, and my biggest dream is just not to have a give a shit. But I remember things, like this story about a guy from my hometown. Most macho guy around, with a jaw you could sharpen a knife on. He became an actor in Warsaw. Very successful, deservedly so. The capital might not be New York City, but it's still a big city, and big cities go to the heads of bumpkins like us. In his case, it resulted in a dream of coming out to his parents. He was surrounded by all of those stories of openly queer people, played one even, so he thought he had a chance at making it work. So he goes back to his town, tells everyone he's going to live his truth. His dad, a ruling party adjacent businessman, curses him. His uncles take him into the bushes and start to destroy him physically. It's so bad, he gets put in the ICU. His face and jaw get ruined for good. Fast forward a year or two, with his career over, this guy is now stuck in his parents' rustic house. With no other path to follow, he turns to God, who tells him to forgive his kin. Everything is fine again. Angelic choirs sing of divine mercy. A kind-looking priest talks about protecting our families. A man sits in the front row of the church, a disfigured smile on his face. Yeah, that's another thing. Quote-unquote family values is something that a lot of church officials talk about in Poland, but obviously they have a very concrete and, in my eyes, a very warped view of what family values are, because somehow to them being gay and being in a gay relationship is antithetical to family values. Somehow you cannot create a functional family being gay, which is perplexing to me and kind of sad, really, to see that in the 21st century you still have this attitude, and it is unfortunately rather prevalent in Poland. Like, I could have believed such story could have easily happened, especially in the rural areas, like in a village or somewhere, because it's a little bit different in big cities. Big cities are usually a lot more liberal, and especially Warsaw itself. But I could have easily believed someone got beaten up, even by his own family, for coming out as gay. you know, in some rural area, like a village or somewhere. So that's kind of sad, actually, and kind of also infuriating. But that story alone didn't drive me away. One time, I saw how blissful he was. I could swear he was actually able to hear God whispering to him. He looked like a saint. It fucked me up so bad. I left. So that's interesting. So it seems she was more influenced not even by the fact he got beat up, but by the fact he was almost kind of borderline brainwashed, and he somehow embraced the very religion that at first caused him to get hurt, and that professes that his way of life is sin, which is kind of fucked up. And to be honest, it's always very interesting to me to hear the testimonies of people who, for example, are gay but are also Catholic. I always feel kind of uneasy about it, because obviously according to the Catholic teachings, being gay in itself is not sinful, it's not wrong. It's just the way you were created by God, so you couldn't have helped that. So there is nothing wrong in principle with being gay, but of course, you know, what's the word? You know, homosexual practices, as it were, you know, actual homosexual relationships, for example, are sinful. So you have to, if you want to be gay and Catholic, you have to sort of pretty much become chaste or something. Like, you have to deny your own physiological needs as far as intimacy goes, which is kind of fucked up, really. And I really feel like it's very hurtful in the long term for like your psychological well-being. But of course, I am not religious myself, and I haven't been for a really, really long time. And to be honest, in truth, I don't think I was ever religious, because as a child, you don't really think about it. You just parrot the things that your parents teach you, and you don't really understand them. And with me, my way to becoming an atheist was quite straight. One day it just stopped making sense to me. I just had too many questions that didn't have clear answers, or that even worse, that had answers that were contradictory. So obviously it's a little bit different for me, because if I were gay, I wouldn't think for like a split second what the Catholic Church, or any other church for that matter, might think of it. Like, I wouldn't care. It's nonsense to me. To be honest, I have very low opinion of religion in general. Like, I don't have anything against religious people. I would like everyone to practice whatever faith they want to, as long as they don't use it as a justification to hate on other people or to hurt them. But in general, I feel like religion mostly has kind of run its course as far as its civilizational use is concerned. And to me, nowadays, it mostly seems like a force that's hampering progress, not only in social circles, but also in science, for example. So, you know, it's very difficult for me to sort of imagine how a gay Catholic must feel, because obviously I don't care about any of the rules or any of the commandments, or basically I don't care what God thinks, if he even exists. I feel nauseated now. Maybe I'm still reeling from hearing about Kara and Jesse Montgomery. Now, if we could talk about it again, that would be great. I know I tend to sound like a loser who loves to pontificate about shit I can't change, but I am at least keep trying to change myself, goddammit. I won't offer simple platitudes, but I think I understand what I meant to understand. What I was meant to understand. I hope I haven't insulted you in any way. Whatever. I learned not to hold people responsible for what the rest of their organization is doing. It would be hard to look in the mirror otherwise. Not that there is much I could see in the mirror right now. Yeah. I'm just wondering about one thing. There is always a cross on your chest. I like how it goes with my outfit. Is it just a fashionable accessory to you? Well, to be honest, to me it would be, but obviously Julia is a bit of her own character. He has a bit of her own trait, her own, personality that is independent of what I think. Well, I guess it's an important piece of the outfit. Will that be all? Yes, have a good night, Julia. Have a good night, Father. I find her sitting in the bed, scrolling through Pinterest on her phone. So how are you doing, detective? I fall on the bed, bury my face in the pillows, and scream. That bad, huh? I don't want to tell her about Double Spiral. I still have to figure out how I feel about it. I'm just not cut out for this. Oh, shut up. If you aren't, who is? Sherlock Holmes? This guy? Which I still haven't read, found out how to actually read his name. The character by Agatha Christie, the detective, Hercule Poirot? Well, I don't know, but it is a Belgian name. I did check that. He was, the fictional character himself. He was Belgian, but I don't know how to read that. Columbo, Mads Mikkelsen's boyfriend from Hannibal, whatever his name was. Oh, his name was actually Will Graham. Although I don't believe he was Hannibal's boyfriend at any point. Although you could read that this way, in some situations. It was pretty kind of homoerotic at the times. I don't know. Someone who can actually put two and two together. You can't fool me into believing you're an incompetent, you dumbass. I read your articles. Don't pretend you suddenly forgot how to do your job. I haven't, but I've got no evidence, no witnesses, no promising leads, nothing. I just stumble around, assuming things, talking big. There. So you're like, I don't know, Jack Nicholson in Chinatown, and he actually solved his case. And then he wished he never took it up. Was that supposed to cheer me up? I'm just saying that the situation you're in sounds an awful lot like Chinatown. Depraved elites, big plans for the city, blah blah blah. Yeah, and that's kind of depressing. It is what it is. I just think you should approach it this way and look for a solution to your problems outside the box. Not as a mystery, but maybe like a trap to escape. Maybe. I throw myself on the bed again and lie there for a bit, staring at the ceiling. Then I approach Dakota from behind and tug her sleeve to draw her attention. Hey. Put the phone away. Now? Come on, Jules. We can't do this every other night. I've got my own work and I need to worry about anemia. You said so yourself. Besides, I was just looking for inspiration. I rub against her clothes with my face like a cat. You're impossible. Haven't you noticed what's going on in the news? People are going absolutely insane about this virus, cancelling trips and orders and... Wait, when was this published? Was this published when COVID was already going on? Pretty please? I can't, honey. I have to replenish my stash, and besides, I'm worried about overuse. My brain is working a bit slow now, my balance is off. I was just thinking how I miss meditation. She's giving me a clear signal, she just wants an excuse. And even though it would be the responsible thing to do, I know she's insatiable. She's usually the one who takes the initiative. Let's try a final push. I bite her ear and whisper in it. No drugs tonight, let's do this raw. She throws her hands in the air. Victory. Jesus, you're greedy these days. Always have been, haven't you noticed? Well, I guess this is the end, because I probably need to rest, yeah. But this episode has been a little bit too long, in fact, so I'm going to pause it here. That's all for this one, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!